Also, I always say that each generation that comes along, for example, your generation thinks that you're reinventing the wheel, but you're really not. I met two girls at the same time. One of them today is my wife after 53 years, and the other one was a young lady. Her first name was Julie, and I was taking the two of them out, and when it came to New Year's Eve, I had to make a decision about who to ask out, and luckily I asked out my present wife, Frankie, and we went together for about a year, and we were married in 1959.
And then you have children, and then that becomes the most unbelievable love. You just take one look at that child and the love just fills you. And then you have the joy of having grandchildren. And that is over the top.
Say and tell you that I'm telling you, don't get married when you're 20 and 22, okay? You can wait.
I think family is the biggest blessing that anyone could have, that you know that people love you just for you, and they're much more accepting, and you love them unconditionally, and you will always be there for them.
I would like to think that when I pass away that I'm going to end up in a nice place and maybe get to see some of my old friends or relatives, so forth. But I don't believe that that really exists. I believe that when you pass away, you pass away. It's just like you close your eyes at night and that's the end of the line, and so forth.
And as far as death goes with friends, and I lost my dearest friend 3 years ago. I have fabulous memories. I miss her terribly. I miss my parents terribly. But I feel that how fortunate I had them in my life and for a long time. And I'm very accepting of death whenever it would come. I've told both my children that I've lived and had everything that and more that anyone could ever ask for. Fear is something that I don't have much of. I just kind of accept things that happen. I'm not. The only thing that I'm very fearful of are heights. That's fear for me.
Growing up, we had first, I remember with the day in 45 when World War II ended. Of course, I was young at the time. I was like 9 years old, but I do remember my father coming home and showing me the newspaper.
I guess I was about 4 or 5, when World War II ended. We knew it ended because everybody was honking horns.
The religion also, I will say this. I'm a believer that religion has probably caused more deaths than war,
War is probably the ugliest thing. That war and hate are 2 words that I wish could be erased from the language.
I think progress is great. I thought the end of the world was the fax. My God, that's incredible, so forth. So look what's happened. I won't be here, but 25 years from now or so, or 30 years from now, you're going to be very lucky. We probably can't even imagine what you're going to see 25 years from now.
But I find I miss the idea of closeness and talking to people instead of texting people, conversations, being able to physically shake hands with someone, to eye contact. I think it's taken a lot away from our society, in the world society.
I wouldn't say it's good or bad. It's something you're not going to be able to avoid. I mean, that's the way it's going to be.
But I think there has to be a happy medium, and I think somewhere along the line someone has to say, okay, there's time out, and we have to have conversations, and we have to feel more. Science has been able to do. I remember watching the first landing on the moon.
It was an unbelievable moment and energized not only the United States, but really energized the world. When I was 13, I was hit by a car when I left junior high school one day. And I woke up a week later in a coma, and I had a cast on my head. I had a fractured skull. But I lost about 75% of my hearing in my right ear. But I learned to live with it over the years. And when I went 20 or 25 years ago, they probably couldn't give me a CT scan at the time, and they probably didn't have the know-how to do this. And he said, I can do it, and he was right. So, you know, the next week I had an hour-and-a-half operation, and now I probably have about 80% of my hearing in my right ear.
I think straightforward elections were as it was, and all this money that's being spent on elections, it's so tragic because there's such need in people for this money, for programs and things like that. It's a waste.
I think it's going to be better. I mean, we're not going to get rid of Medicare, are we? I mean, I certainly don't want it, you know. And everybody my age, I mean, if something happens, there's no Medicare, I'll still survive, but most people won't.
You know, you realize how corrupt some politicians are. I was naive, and I do still believe that people make a difference, and you can change things. Okay, I think we need to engage the youth in what's happening and have them part of it, and whether they're training programs or that getting the younger people involved in government. And
when you look back on your life, you realize that there were certain times in your life where you made decisions and you didn't realize or know, and you would have no way of knowing at the time how important those decisions would be and how it would really affect your life, you know, your entire life over a number of years.
I think having children was probably the happiest. My happiest times now are with family, and just looking around at the family and being part of it,
and regardless of what they say, money is very, very important, you know. When they say money isn't everything, it's sure a good part of it. Health is extremely important. Excuse me. I always got that from my wife's father. One thing I always remember him saying to me when I was really young, in my 20s, saying, you know, money's terrific, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't have your health. You know, some of the things are similar. We all think the same way, but there's certain things that will make you happy that won't make me happy, and so forth. You know, I mean, like I said before, you can be doing a lot of things and not be very content with your life, or you get lucky and you are, and so forth.
I am very happy. Happiness comes from within, and acceptance, and with love, with kindness.